Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of our gaming news podcast, the Packcast. And joining me today, as always, are Cool Trainer Camillo, the Janebo, and Dan from the Tea Lounge. How you guys doing today?
Doing well.
Doing great. Yeah.
Excellent. And I am Phil Fantastic. The first thing we're going to talk about today is Pokemon Sword and Shield might be compatible with Pokemon Go. Later in the show, we're going to talk about the ProJared Scandel. We'll be talking about the PlayStation State of Play. And then we're going to talk about games that we would like to see turned into movies, because we all saw the Detective Pikachu movie, and we're pretty excited about it. So we're going to break our Detective Pikachu discussion into two sections. The first section will be spoiler-free, and the second section will be spoiler-ridden. So we will warn you guys when we get into spoiler territory before that happens. But let's get into the first topic. All right, guys, first topic. Pokemon Sword and Shield might be compatible with Pokemon Go. So according to a news source, the codename Koala might be Sword and Shield's internal codename, which is said to match the naming convention Game Freak uses to link each game with nature or an animal. So, for example, in the previous release of Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, they used Beluga. Is that correct, Cam?
Yeah, the code name for Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was Beluga.
Very cool. All right, do you want to start the discussion on that, Camilla? What does that all mean? Where did this information come from?
Yeah, so there's this update that's going to be coming to Pokemon Go soon, and there's going to be a lot of new features in it. And people found the code for it, and there are a few lines of code in this new update that say Koala something something something. Mm-hmm. And since the other previous mainline Pokemon games have had this like nature code name to them, we may think that Pokemon Go may link up with Sword and Shield. This doesn't surprise me that much, because when Pokemon Go first came out, the Pokemon Company did intend to have Pokemon Go link up to Sun and Moon, because in the data for Sun and Moon, there are locations, like when you look at your Pokemon summary screen, where it says like, oh, it's caught on Route 3. Like the game could say caught in Pokemon Go. So I think it was planned, they just never really used it. So I think they want to put Pokemon Go into the main series, and they made Let's Go, but that's kind of, it's like a separate thing. So I don't know if they'll actually put Pokemon Go with like a main like core game.
It'd be interesting to see. Definitely would be cool for a promotional thing to try to, because like a lot of people, I mean, Pokemon Go's free and people can get it on their phones, so it could be a really good promotional thing to try to get people to get the new iteration of the game, Sword and Shield. So, and then, I could see it from a business standpoint, just promotional, marketing, all that stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know what they're gonna do with Meltan, because like technically Meltan's a 7th generation, but you can only catch it in Pokemon Go. So if they do this, they could just keep it like, oh, Meltan's only in Pokemon Go, and you have to transfer it to this game. Because I don't know if they would actually just make it, oh, now it's just a regular Pokemon you can catch in a main game.
Maybe. So. I mean, or he could just be... Do you think they would just be like, oh, you can also transfer Meltan to Sword and Shield?
Yeah, like that would be like the point to do that, to like keep Meltan. Because if they don't, then like you can't have Meltan in a Gen 8 game, which doesn't make sense because he's an actual Pokemon.
Right. And they could do that. I mean, they could do it again. They come out with a new mythical for Sword and Shield, like just like they did with Let's Go. It'd be super cool. I'm into it. I'm for it. Like when Meltan was like announced and stuff, I was hyped. I already had it downloaded on my phone, but I updated it. I started playing a lot again, and it was really fun opening the Meltan box and catching them. Like that was fun. So if they do that again, like with that kind of hype, I would definitely be playing Pokemon Go again, spending those microtransactions when I run out of Pokeballs. I mean, it's a win no matter what. So I think connecting it's kind of a no-brainer. Yeah. I would see it. It's gonna just
funnel even more people into the series.
Totally. What do you guys think, John or Dan? I know you're not big Pokemaniacs, but what do you think? Maybe from a business perspective, what do you think?
I think it would be dumb to not integrate it. Pokemon Go is still like hugely popular. They're making tons of money off of it, so why not capitalize on it?
Absolutely.
For the new games. Sucks they're like, what, 2 years too late, though, to really capitalize on it?
How do you mean?
I mean,
like when the Pokemon Go craze, when everybody was playing Pokemon Go, not just the people that stuck with it.
But what's late? Like, what's late?
Well, they could have... They didn't integrate it with the Pokemon games. I guess it was Sun and Moon back then, right?
Yeah.
And that's when they really could have capitalized on integrating these.
I think it had
features.
to do with like the 3DS's limitations, though, like phone to like 3DS. But yeah,
does the
3DS. What?
Oh, sorry, I was gonna say, does it have Bluetooth? Does 3DS have Bluetooth?
I don't think so. Oh, what I was gonna say is yes. When Pokemon Go first came out, the features were really slow to roll out. Like it took us forever to get training. It took us forever to get PvP. But now, I feel like whenever you play Pokemon Go, like there's always an event going on, so there's like always something to do. Like right now, the Detective Pikachu event's going on, and there's like a lot of spawns that are Pokemon from the movie, and a lot of them, like almost all of them, could be shiny. Like the 3 starters,
so cool.
Psyduck, Snubbull, Apom. There's just so many.
How many shinies do you have now for Psyduck? 3?
I got 3 this week.
That's insane. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so much fun. I love that. I just love the integration of Pokemon Go. Like that's like really what the story's all about. Is Pokemon Go like continuing to promote the Pokemon brand with the Pokemon Company, like through the movie, through the new game that's coming out. Like it's just this cool little like extra thing to promote whatever like main product that they have going on, and it's just a fun. I just think it's great.
And it's just like a format or like a medium that's like it can always be updated. It's like always like they're always adding things, and
it's very accessible.
Yeah,
as a Pokemon outsider, I definitely feel more of a Pokemon presence recently than I had in the past.
Awesome. Cool. Well, yeah, that's potentially there's going to be a connection because of this source code leak, and it's from a credible source. So and based on everything we've been saying, I'd say that this is pretty credible and probably going to happen. All right, moving on. Now we're moving on to a little bit more of a sensitive topic. I only want to talk about it briefly because the subject material is very sensitive. So ProJared is a gaming YouTuber, and he was caught up in a very public scandal. Essentially, Cliff Notes, he was unfaithful to his wife with one of his friend's ex-wives. All 4 people involved are YouTube content creators or creators in some way. I know his ex-wife is a major cosplayer. So this whole thing became really, really public because basically Jared had tweeted out this statement that he was getting a divorce, and he was very diplomatic in a way that protected him. And his wife, Heidi, was sort of upset about that because it made it seem like it was a very mutual thing, when in reality, Jared was unfaithful to her and was lying to her and doing many things behind her back, including, and now that I have not seen any, and this is like sort of the thing that's up in the air, any like concrete proof that he might have been sending some inappropriate messages to minors. And it's just really, this whole thing is really upsetting to me. To see a content creator that I personally really enjoyed, and I know some of you viewers really enjoyed and some of us enjoyed, not really be who we all thought he was. And it's just kind of sad to watch this very public kind of breakdown. And it's like not the first time this is happening. I don't know if we want to expand this conversation a little bit. Who was the guy who was like yelling outside of his apartment in New York? I think we were talking about this.
Etika.
Yeah, like Etika.
He wasn't just doing that.
Yeah, well, he had uploaded some inappropriate things onto his YouTube page, and it just seems like, I mean,
and Alex C&D like went off the deep end.
Yeah, and there was a couple of PokeTubers were having inappropriate DMs with some of their viewers, and it just seems like it just keeps happening over and over and over. And I'm just like, what is happening to our community? And it just makes me worried. I'm like, I don't want to be associated with like that behavior or those people. And it's just, I just really hope that this doesn't spread out to be like, oh, well, like YouTube content creators are all like, you know, mentally ill or like, you know,
I think that's
bad people.
Yeah, that's blowing it a little out of proportion because like these things are so crazy. We hear about them, but there are so many more people on YouTube than the people we're talking about right now.
Exactly. So
And also like so many people, like there is not necessarily an increase of people who are going off the deep end, but in this day and age it's more visible because everyone is so hyper connected that we hear about a lot more of it as well.
Exactly. So yeah, just really blow up on social media. His subreddit turned against him, and it just turned into meme central. Some of which were hilarious, but I'm not really going to reference any of them. But it's just been this really weird ride of him losing, you know, I think he lost probably 200,000 subs over the course of a week. It's been sad. And that's really, I just wanted to talk about it because it was like a really big gaming story. And a big YouTube story, and we're all four of us are on YouTube, so it was just, you know, just upset me. I don't know if you guys want to talk about it at all or your experience with ProJared.
I've never really watched ProJared, so like it is sad to hear about it, but I'm not as torn up about it. Like I know what the situation's like because I do have YouTubers that I watched a lot and then they just kind of like disappeared or like went off the deep end, and it's just like that person's like gone now, and it's just like, even though like you don't know them and they don't know you, like you feel like you know them, so like you feel like they're your friend, and it's just like it's just the relationship's gone.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's also like for me there are like two aspects of it. One of the aspects is those things that should remain private kind of get brought out into the public and become a huge deal, and it really shouldn't, because the things that are private should remain private. And then along the other lines of allegations, if there are things that are not exactly legal and on the up and up going on, then that certainly shouldn't be something that remains private.
Absolutely.
So yeah, using one to springboard the other might be okay in this instance. I don't know.
Yeah, I hear that.
It's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going through, I mean, and it was Heidi's choice to bring this into the public. She is the one that tweeted out, my husband was unfaithful with this person, tagged everybody, and like that's how the whole thing started. So I mean, it really was up to her whether or not she wanted this to remain private or not, and it's her marriage, and she decided that she was scorned, and she wanted ProJared to pay. So now he's, you know, reaping what he sowed.
Well, what I think annoyed her and why she came out with that tweet is because, you know, people were probably trying to see him as the victim, or could see him as a victim, where she wasn't having any of that.
Yeah. I mean, his statement was very, like, just down the middle, didn't really say any reasons why. It seemed like very mutual, and she was just like, no, that's not how this happened.
But I do think if it was just the infidelity and the divorce, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But with these other allegations, like, if they do turn out to have merit, like, he should be arrested.
If he committed crimes, he should absolutely be arrested and prosecuted. And like, we're all just kind of waiting and seeing to see what's going to happen. But yeah, as of right now, it's just like the juicy gossip and drama of all the, you know, the breakups and the memes and his like live sub count dropping. people memeing like, "Oh my gosh, like congrats on 900,000 subs. I've been here since a million."
Oh my gosh.
That's shit.
I did want to mention. Well, this isn't ProJared, but is that James Charles, which is having another issue where he's dropping subs like crazy. Rightfully so, probably, with some of the things that come out. But there was a story where it was a completely false claim of him abusing somebody.
Really?
So you just have to be careful with like the stuff you share online, the stuff you see online. Make sure you do like research before sharing it. You want to think before you react. But yeah, there was this whole story of him abusing this kid in high school, which turned out to be completely false. They even admitted that the one DM they shared saying James Charles was telling them to stop, they even admitted that was Photoshop. So
wow,
yeah, you just have to be wary.
Yeah, that's a really valid point, John. I think people really, it's just like people love to jump on the bandwagon. They like to dogpile, and like nobody's fact checking. They're like, oh my god, like let's jump all over this and like like ruin this guy because for the memes and because like they're angry and they want an outlet. Like I was reading a lot of things on the subreddits. Like some of these people had like never even heard of ProJared before, but like they're just like so engrossed in like the drama of it all that they'll just jump on board with like whatever anybody's saying without really having any context of what's going on. And I just think that like in general, like that's happening across the board in like media. And I just think that people really, I don't think it's healthy for our society to just dogpile on people and like ruin their careers without really, making sure everything is, cross the T's and dot the I's, etc. So,
I live with somebody that teaches like fake news type seminars and shows you how to determine or how to check facts. She's completely ruined the internet for me, but yeah, like every time I see a post that I initially feel angry or upset about, I would normally, I would share it right away. But now I want to step back and be like, is that even true? Like, should I even?
You're mad about that?
Yeah,
being like educated and wanting to treat things with like precaution before you go off the handle on Twitter.
Yeah,
going off the handle is so fun sometimes though.
Yeah, sometimes it is fun to react, but it's not like
people tend to turn into savages somewhat and revert to their baser instincts, and it might be fun for a while, but in the long term it does a lot of harm. And I mean, without having all the facts especially, I mean, it can be a huge detriment to whoever's involved unwillingly or otherwise. Like, it usually does more harm than good than waiting for all the facts. And it also assumes that people are irredeemable when people just go on the attack. It's like they've decided that this person deserves to lose in life. And that's an unfortunate position for everyone to take.
I also hold that stance, Dan, where I feel like people are I think that people have gone a little bit overkill on deciding that people just can't have careers anymore. And I think that you can make amends, you can repair, you can grow, you can be a better person. And sure, people need to be held accountable when they're in a position of power and they abuse that. But I think, life is a series of you make mistakes, nobody is flawless. And granted, some of these things that we're talking about right now are, pretty heinous. But I'm just saying maybe on a smaller scale, people make mistakes, people can learn from their mistakes, and they could maybe come back from it. But,
speaking of comebacks, isn't Philip starting to come back?
DeFranco?
Yeah, no, Philip.
No, Philip Mewson.
Yeah,
he's
Mewson.
Posting videos and stuff.
Is he?
Yeah.
He posted an actual apology.
Wow.
Yeah, a year, 8 months later or a year later.
Well, we can investigate that at a further date.
I thought you were going to say life is like a box of chocolates. Sometimes you bite into one and it's toothpaste. That doesn't mean your career should be ended.
I wasn't, but that's a good place to end that topic. All right, and moving on to our third topic of the day is the PlayStation. Is it Sony PlayStation State of Play? What is it called?
I think it's just called State of Play.
State of Play. I don't know.
State of Play. It's Sony's kind of...
Nintendo Direct.
It's Sony's Nintendo Direct that they 100% ripped off from them. So they had the State of Play last week, and they had a couple of pretty cool announcements. The first announcement I want to talk about is the Iceborne expansion DLC pack. I don't know if it costs money or not, but
I think it does.
It's for, I'll pay for it. It's for Monster Hunter World, which I'm super into. I actually did get pretty far, and I got to all the regions and everything, and my guy has really good equipment, and with, I got in deep. And I'm excited it's like a snow biome, which they've done previously in Monster Hunter games, but now it's like a snow biome where when you walk through the snow, because we're in modern console generations, the footprints stay. And
oh god, it looks so pretty.
Gosh, it just looks so good, and I'm so excited to fight new monsters because I got a little tired of fighting just bigger, different versions of the older monsters. So there's new monsters coming, there's a new biome coming, and it just seems like a lot of fun, and I'm definitely going to be purchasing it, and I'm going to be, booting back up Monster Hunter World. How about you guys? Are you guys Monster Hunter fans?
Nope.
Why not?
Keep
It's
that
like
away from
Pokemon.
me.
Yeah, the only monsters you like are pocket monsters.
It's like a grown-up
like-
version of Pokemon.
No, it's not. It's not even close to the correct.
I don't know. I've watched gameplay of it. It doesn't interest me at all. It's
When
just
Generations
kind of
came out,
Oh
Go ahead.
no! I was gonna ramble.
oh, yeah, when Generations came out, I tried the demo because a lot of the people in my circle were really excited for it.
Sure.
And I couldn't get into it so much, but then I was convinced to go and buy a used copy of 3 Ultimate, and I really couldn't get into that one either.
Yeah, there's a lot of quality
takes-
of life stuff that has happened
Yeah.
since 3 Ultimate to make it a little bit easier to play. It's when you play the Monster Hunter games, they're very obtuse, and it's not 100% clear.
You need people that know how to play.
Yeah, or guides.
Yeah.
Really intense guides. Is because the game, there was this whole, everyone was like, oh, Monster Hunter World, it's going to be the game that's accessible so people can get in and play it. And it's just as obtuse as all the other ones.
It's a little bit better. It's a little bit better.
Slightly.
I think my biggest problem with Monster Hunter, 3 in particular, was that for a game called Monster Hunter, there sure is a lot of time and other things before you finally get to hunt monsters.
It does take a while to get into, but once you
also,
can
the monsters
Completely lost before the first monster even appeared.
The monsters
Well, I mean,
also just look like dinosaurs. What? They have no
mean,
character.
they are-
some of them
But they're not
do
like
not look
Pokemon have
dinosaurs.
they look. They all look. It's hard to describe. They have character. The monsters just look like boring monsters.
There's this one that blows up into a big round ball.
Yeah. And it looks
Wow.
like a big flying
Looks
mouse.
yeah.
They
There's a
look
lot of
different.
dragons.
There's a lot of dragons. There's a lot of dinosaur-looking creatures, but there's also underwater whales, and once you get into the game, there's a little bit more diversity in the monsters. But if you look at the box art, it's that's a team.
Yeah,
I remember you
generic.
telling me it takes you 30 hours just to get into the game, and then the game starts.
And that's being generous. It's probably 50 or 60.
Yeah, you really
yeah.
you have to basically beat the whole story before you get into a really satisfying game loop of hunting specific I mean, you can do it whenever. It's just it's not worth it to invest the time, because when you hunt those smaller rank monsters, like you don't get like good materials from them, so like you sort of want to like blow through the story so that you can fight the harder monsters to get the better pieces of equipment to turn that like, or pieces of monster, I guess, for lack of a better term, scales, teeth, horns, all that kind of stuff, to turn into better gear and weapons and all that. So it really does. If you want awesome gear, you got to put in the time.
You gotta hunt the same monster over and over again.
Yeah, that's true. But it's there are different missions, like, and you can be smart about it. You're like, oh, well, I need the tail, so like you attack the tail and you cut the tail off, and then you have like a higher percentage chance of like getting the tail. So there is strategy to it. It comes with like a little book that like breaks down like what pieces are on what part of the monster. So I don't know. I enjoy Monster Hunter a lot. I think it's a great co-op game. It's a really, really good action RPG, but it's not for everyone. I agree, and I'm excited for more content.
It's crazy. Like the Monster Hunter World came out last January.
I think so.
So it's been out over a year, and by the time this comes out, which I think it's coming out in September, it's gonna be out for a year and a half or year and 9 months, and they're supporting it with new content, which is pretty cool. They sold like 12 million copies of this game.
Well, they were supporting it with like the free Witcher content.
Yeah, they always have like they had like Mega Man and I think even Resident Evil. They had some Capcom. They had Dante.
There was
they definitely had Dante.
There was Horizon Zero Dawn stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's cool. Like there's cool crossovers, and they do support it. So like I don't know, I'm into it. I like it. I guess the biggest thing for all four of us can agree on that was announced or was shown was the Final Fantasy VII Remake trailer. And that
came out of nowhere.
That was, like, because people had given up hope. So
yeah, because they announced it like 6 years ago.
The last trailer was in 2015.
Wow.
4 years ago. Wow.
That's nuts. It looked beautiful. And I have bought recently-ish Final Fantasy VII, like the PS1 edition on my Switch, when that came out, and I was really enjoying it. So like when I was watching this trailer, I like understood the like references and like what was being remastered and what scenes they were showing, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like we live in the flipping future. Like it just looked so good compared to like the weird little blocky cloud. It was just like so cool. So I'm like hyped, but like I don't know when I'm gonna see it.
I would maybe next year.
Or we're supposed to get more info in June, so during E3 probably.
I saw a very funny meme that was like, yes, we said June, but we didn't say what year.
Well, they did confirm that it's still episodic.
Ah.
So they can release one part next year, and then
they're not going to do it. Like they're not going to. It'll be like one episode. And people are saying like, I heard people saying that like the episodes are going to be like really short, but like Final Fantasy VII itself is like a really long game, so I think the parts will be long enough. They're not going to be like, oh, this is a 3-hour episode you're going to play. It's going to be longer than that.
Yeah, what is it going to be, like a 30-chapter game?
I don't know.
And you have to pay per chapter.
That seems insane. You could you could just pay for it like PS Plus or whatever.
Well, would one be like 10, 15 hours? Or I don't know.
One chapter?
We saw.
What? Yeah, if it was like
we saw how well
chapter.
Episodes.
What are you saying, Dan?
We saw how well episodes worked for Sonic the Hedgehog 4. I think they stopped after 2.
People still remember that game?
Exactly.
I don't. All right, so I don't.
Are we gonna talk about this Final Fantasy, or are we gonna?
Yeah, no, Final Fantasy. It's Final Fantasy.
Okay.
I don't understand what makes this one different.
What do you mean?
Like, why is it considered the best one ever?
It was just really revolutionary at the time. It was the first 3D one.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of looks like
it's like the only
all the other Final Fantasies now.
Isn't it the only one like in a futuristic kind of setting?
No, Final Fantasy 13 is super futuristic, and then Final Fantasy 6 was like steampunky futuristic. I don't know. It was just it blew when it came out.
Yeah.
It blew everyone's minds, and like that's what's it like rides that nostalgia of like everyone's minds being blown like when it came out on PS1, and like the story is good. It's like it's a good game, like so people are like this is great. It would be like if because like
It's probably the
Ocarina-
first like cinematic Final Fantasy because like the ones before it were like on SNES and stuff.
Mhm.
NES.
Yeah, there weren't. Yeah, the cinematics were like just pretty plain. What was I gonna say? It's like yeah, it's comparable to Ocarina of Time. The love people have for Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time is very revolutionary. Like it still had all of those things from Zelda 1 and Zelda 2, but now it was in 3D and it was crazy and like the story was wonderful. So
Yeah.
it's Final Fantasy 7 is like basically the PlayStation equivalent of that. So can you imagine the hype of just a crazy 4K version of like Ocarina of Time coming out and like Nintendo teasing it? Like people would be losing their minds. It's like the
But
same.
you got to release it at some point, right?
I mean, yeah,
I don't think
Can't
it's
just
not
keep doing
years
this.
off. Like it's been years already. This game was like put on like hold for development because Tetsuya Nomura, the guy who made Kingdom Hearts, he's working on this project.
Oh, so we're never getting. Well, we'll get it like 10 years from now.
I'm about to leap through this camera.
Yikes.
I mean, how long it took? What 15 years to release Kingdom
yeah, but,
Hearts
like,
3?
Because there were games before it that he was working on. He was working on Final Fantasy 15 for the longest time.
Mhm.
So
He needs
now
to
that
speed up his process.
I think he has like one team.
He's an artist, man. You can't
Yeah.
speed up an artist. All right.
I don't know much about Final Fantasy. Is it usually done in episodes?
Never.
No.
No.
Not once.
Well, then why start now?
Money.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well,
Perhaps.
yeah, that's what I was getting at with the Sonic reference. It's like, why start now doing something if it doesn't make sense to do it in episodes. I don't know.
I mean, I think it's just because it would take them longer. Like they can release the first part of the game because they can finish it, and then work on like the latter part of the game.
Yeah.
And like sell it to you so they can get money in faster rather than waiting however long it would take to do the entire game and sell it in one box.
I think it's also
I mean,
has to do with staying power. Like, think of the last big game that came out, right? What's the last big game that came out?
Days Gone?
The last
Kingdom Hearts 3.
Like, yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3. Who's talking about that anymore? Nobody. Like,
Okay.
it's not as relevant
Keep going.
as.
Cam talks about it all the time.
No, I'm just saying, like, it
Nobody's-
was a big
nobody's
deal
listening.
it was a big deal for a week.
But
Like,
that's
everybody was
any
talking
game.
about it.
You could say that about any game. Like it.
Yeah, no, but,
passes its
like,
time.
If they keep releasing episodes periodically, it'll keep it in the conversation.
I mean, I'm not upset.
yeah, and
like,
eventually you'll have a
people,
whole game.
Like,
I mean,
people like this with TV shows. Like, why can't this be like a game like that too?
Because it doesn't work.
I don't like the trend of releasing things before they're done. It reminds me, there was like a game, I think it was like a Tony Hawk game. It could have been some other sports game, but like they didn't have anything on the disc. Literally, they sold the disc to people, and the game wasn't complete. And then on release day, they had a day one update with like a massive download that was the game.
But you're not buying if it's episodic. Like, you're not buying the whole game at once. You're buying one episode.
I mean, I think
Right,
it was okay back when The Walking Dead was a thing, and Telltale was releasing everything, but then they took too long to release stuff. They took like 6 months to release an episode. Like, is that going to happen with this?
I'd say like every few months. I don't think 6 months. That's like a big.
Something. Well, I'm predicting it now, and based on nothing, there will be a delay in one of the episodes. All right, that's a lot of Final Fantasy VII talk. Do you guys want to talk about the other state of play stuff? So Predator. What was the tagline of the game? The Predator something
Hunting
or other?
Grounds. Hunting Grounds.
Predator Hunting Grounds was announced, and it is a asymmetrical online multiplayer game, which we all discussed and think that it means essentially somebody is the predator, and then there's like a team, like the other people playing online work as a team to kill the predator, kind of like that game Evolve.
Dead to Daylight.
Yeah, there's Dead by Daylight. There's Friday the 13th. There's Evolve. I think I saw something online where it said it's where like one or a couple players have a different objective than the other players. So I think it's going to be one person's going to be Predator, and then the rest of the people are going to be generic soldiers.
Or Schwarzenegger, which would be cool. I hope he's in the game. That seems cool. I don't know. Maybe if it's free to play, I'll play it, but I am not dropping money on a Predator game.
They got another big property, like Predator. They got Spider-Man. Sony has a lot of big properties.
Yeah, but does anyone give a flying hoot about Predator anymore?
There's a movie that came out like last year.
I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah.
Who knew
It's
about
called
that?
Predator.
I didn't know about that.
Yep. None of us
Wow.
know.
It sounds vaguely familiar.
Who was anybody important in it? Anybody good in it?
No, I don't know. I didn't see it.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't even see it. Moving on. That Predator game sounds kind of cool. I hope it's free to play. I'll play it if it's free. And then the last thing I want to touch on was the Medieval remake.
Is it medieval or is it medieval? I feel
I
like
don't
they
know.
pronounce it differently.
It's the game that has the rip-off Jack Skellington in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on PlayStation. I never played it, and they're remaking it. Are you guys interested in this game at all?
Mm-mm.
Nope.
Nope.
It looks like doo-doo. It looks like it's still on PlayStation 1.
That's great. Sounds like a really good game, and I hope we all get to enjoy it.
You know what they should do? Make an HD version of it and release it over 15 episodes.
Oh! That's a callback.
Next up on the agenda, guys, we're going to talk about games we would like to see turned into movies, game franchises we would like to see turned into movies. And I'm going to throw it to Dan first. Go ahead, Dan.
A few franchises that I would like to see turned into like live action movies. Professor Layton. I think that would be an amazing live action series of movies, even potentially, if not just one movie. Because like they've got good characters, got good story, a lot of puzzles that would, I think, lend themselves, not necessarily like find the thing on the screen and click on it type of things, but you could
It'd be like a Sherlock
definitely
Holmes
adapt
type movie, right?
puzzlery. Yeah, exactly. You could definitely adapt puzzlery to the big screen. It's been done before, and they could do a fresh twist on it. Another one I think would be good is Shadow the Colossus.
Oh, yeah.
That would be really cool to see.
I thought they were thinking about that. I thought that was in the talks.
In 3D IMAX.
Ooh.
That would be crazy. That's just...
And, like, they could kill two birds with one stone and finally come out with a movie that has no dialogue. And, oh, that would be brilliant. Because the game has very little dialogue, if
I don't
any.
know if I would like that.
Oh.
I saw The Quiet
If
Place.
they do it
that was
right,
okay.
it could be amazing. It could be amazing. And then Metal Gear. I think Metal Gear could also be a really good series. Yeah. So that's for me.
Metal Gear would be cool because it's like grounded in reality, and you could be like a spy, dude.
A lot of espionage, a lot of different things. As technology changes, you work those types of things in. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff can be done with that.
John, did you have any in particular you wanted to mention?
I think Final Fantasy VII,
There is a movie already, isn't there?
20 years in the future.
The Spirit Within,
Advent
I
Children.
remember.
Excuse me.
Definitely found the same movies already.
Yeah. No, I think it has to be like grounded in reality, or it won't really work. Like, The Last of Us would be cool, but I think they're already in talks for that. And I know the Monster Hunter, I think, would be really neat to see. And I know they're making one, and
They're making one.
It looks awful, like just from the set shots
have
that
you
they've
seen the
shown. It looks
stills?
bad. Yeah.
The
So
gear's pretty spot on.
make a good movie of that, and I'd be down.
We'll see. It's by the Resident guy who did Resident Evil. It's got Mila Jovovich
Oh,
in it.
jeez. R.I.P.
It's probably not going to be good. Camilo, any movies you want to see?
I agreed with Dan. I think a Professor Layton movie would be really cool because that game is like it's like an anime already, or like all the cutscenes are anyway.
That's cool.
Yeah, because actually, come to think of it, I don't think Studio Ghibli does the animation, but it reminds me of a lot of that. And that did bring up. I remember that there is a Ni no Kuni movie coming out in December.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
it's gonna be like an original story set in that world or whatever. But yeah,
Nice.
I would really like a Zelda movie because I don't know if you guys have seen it. There was that one fan trailer that somebody made of Majora's Mask, and it was like beautiful.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
I
so
just
that was
can't-
like
I would watch that.
I can't get on board with the protagonist that doesn't talk, but everybody else talks.
I would watch a Skull Kid movie.
yeah, it doesn't have to be about Link.
All right. Well, I would want to see a Metroid movie. Speaking of people who don't talk, they talk.
She can talk though.
She talks in
Other M.
Prime 3 and Other M, and that never really went over well with me. I wasn't a huge fan. But if they did something that was like in the vein of like Alien, where it's like kind of a suspenseful movie, I think that would be pretty cool. With like, you could have big action scenes or something at the end, or I don't know, just be. I think you could find some way to turn Metroid. I mean, Metroid was based on Alien. That is confirmed. Like they have said that they made Metroid because they thought Alien was so cool. They're like, well, what if we made this game where this woman was isolated on a planet? So it would just be cool to see that come full circle and like have a reimagining of either Metroid 1 or 3. I think would be really cool to see Super Metroid. But yeah, that would be my pick, I guess.
Yes. Speaking of characters that don't talk, I don't think necessarily that a movie adaptation of a game where the character doesn't talk, the movie would also have to have that character not talk.
Yeah.
Because the reason characters don't talk in games is so that people can kind of put themselves into that role as they're playing as the character. So it wouldn't have to necessarily be that way in a movie.
What are they going to do with Mario, though? Is Mario going to talk in the Mario movie?
But Mario's talks all the
Probably.
time.
Yeah.
It's not in like full sentences.
He talked in the cartoon.
They've had a Mario
Yeah.
movie. He talked.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how'd that go over?
Like, if you've ever seen any of like the promotional material, they'll have Mario speak. And like
Mario
the
has a
RPG
voice.
games he speaks,
Charles
like the
Martinet.
Mario and Luigi games.
Yeah. He speaks.
One game, I gotta say, one game franchise I definitely don't want to see made as a movie is Grand Theft Auto.
Well, that's like
I'll just throw that
all
out.
of the gangster movies ever.
Yeah, like what Vice City was basically Scarface. Like they basically pull from all of like the mafia movies. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
We just don't need it.
yeah, we don't need it, but we'll get it probably before any of the ones that we want.
We'll get a Fortnite
Yeah.
movie soon.
Ugh. What would that even be?
Yeah.
Just Hunger Games.
There's Hunger Games with building.
But with candy canes and weird items instead.
That'd be weird.
So it'd
All right.
be
Of
much
weapons.
more fun.
Well, I look forward to seeing all of you guys at the movies when these movies premiere. Moving on to the final section of our podcast, guys. Again, it is divided into two parts. The first part is going to be spoiler-free. We're going to be talking about the great, amazing, wonderful film that is Detective Pikachu. Those are my opinions. I haven't yet asked my co-hosts if that is also their opinion, but I really enjoyed it. And then we will do a cut, and we will move into spoiler territory. There will also be a timestamp in the description if you guys want to move right ahead in the spoiler discussion. If you're watching live in the premiere, I don't know what to tell you. This is pretty much the end of the podcast anyway, so just watch the non-spoilery part, and then when we move on, you can go do your own thing. So like I said, I really enjoyed the movie. I think they did a really good job creating the city. I thought things were like grimy, like everything was grimy. It felt like it just really felt like a living, breathing city. I think they did a really cool job. Because essentially, this is explained in like an informational video and like a very exposition-y way at the beginning of the movie, like why the Pokemon aren't in Pokeballs. Essentially, the movie takes place in Rhyme City, where Pokemon and people live together in harmony, which kind of reminded me a little bit of in Pokemon Black and White. Like, I feel like Team Plasma won, and this is the city they created. Like, but
yeah, kinda, because they were like, oh, we can't, like, you can't own Pokemon. They have to be like, do their own thing.
So I thought that was kind of like right off the bat. I was like, well, this is kind of a weird alternate timeline. And the one thing I would say that I was annoyed by in the movie is that there weren't enough Pokemon. I feel like that.
I think it's like somebody compiled Pokemon. It's like 53 Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, I think there's about 50 Pokemon in here, and they recycled them throughout the whole movie over and over.
Which I get, because it just takes a lot of resources to animate that many Pokemon, but it's kind of like, I saw how good all these Pokemon look. I just want to see more, but I understand why.
Yeah, it's like how many, like there were so many Charmanders, so many Sneasels. Gosh, which ones did they repeat? Like so many Sneasels.
Squirtles.
So many Squirtles, Greninja,
Growlithe.
Yeah, Growlithe a bunch of times.
Snorlax.
Is this spoilers? I don't know. Is that spoilers?
No.
They're in the trailer, right?
Yeah, they're all in the trailer.
Snorlax, Machamp.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they just got repeated a bunch, and I was just like, oh, come on, guys. Like, I get that it costs $1 bajillion. So,
but they're adorable. Like, the Squirtles were adorable.
Yeah, they were
The
great.
Bulbasaurs, those are adorable.
Yeah, the Bulbasaurs were really good. I thought the 3 starters, or the 4 starters, like Pikachu, Charmander, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, all looked really, really good, and I thought they were good, faithful. Because they did like a weird, like the art style was weird and very realistic, but I thought it was pretty faithful to like the original game.
Yeah.
Which, if you think about it, I mean, unless you go back to like the art book, like the manual, and you look at the art.
Yeah, I mean, there are some where I'm like, wow, I didn't expect that Pokemon to look like that. Especially like, even though it was in the trailer, like Charizard. Charizard looks like an actual dragon. Yeah. Whereas like, I know the design is like much simpler, but like the Fungus Pokemon, it looks exactly like it did in the game.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Like 100%, it looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really cool. I thought.
I'm sorry, not why did I say Morello? It's like the other mushroom Pokemon.
It's okay.
Sometimes they call you out on that.
Nobody but you knew that.
I didn't even know what that Pokemon was.
So I guess
that's all I know.
So that was like the world. That's my opinion on the world, spoiler free. Then I guess I want to touch on. I'm going to give my opinions first, and then we can just hand it off, and everybody else can talk. Does that sound fair?
Yep.
Or
sure.
Interesting. Okay, so I'm just going to give my spoiler-free opinions. There are 2 main human characters. One of them is a reporter, and the other is the main character. His name is Tim Goodman, and he's the one who finds Pikachu, and they do some detective work together. And my main complaint, I thought the guy who played Tim is Justice Smith. Mm-hmm. Yep. I thought he did a good job. I think his performance was okay. Like, I think he did a good job carrying the movie. He's acting against a million tennis balls and green screens. So like, I commend anybody who can do that. So I thought his performance was really good. His interactions with Pikachu were super funny. I really liked their relationship. But the reporter girl, I don't know what, and it got better as the movie went on, but her performance was worse than I'd ever seen. And what I said earlier as an example is a Disney Channel original movie. Like, it was so bad.
All right, well, she wasn't really a reporter; she was an intern. So maybe she was trying to act like a reporter would act, but she didn't know how a reporter would act because she's an intern.
Into the biz, yeah.
Possibly. And then like the movie is like kind of like trying to be a little bit noir. So like I get that scene was like setting up like, ooh, noir reporter person like talking down to like a potential like suspect lead or whatever. Like, but it just seemed really bad. It was just that scene's at the very beginning of the movie also. It's just like very just rubbed me the wrong way.
It was super cringe.
I can
right
like
at the
kind of
beginning.
see that, but it was like also like endearing at the same point because she looks like she's like trying so hard to like be a reporter and stuff.
Right.
It felt like a bad introduction that was a bad first impression that set the tone for the rest of
Dan.
interactions with her.
Dan,
I feel like she was all right the rest of the movie, though.
yeah, but Dan's
She
so
may
right.
very well be, yeah.
Dan said that's it, like first impressions, everything. Like that was the first scene in the movie, and when I saw that, I was like, nope, don't like this. But in general, I thought the other characters were really good. What's that one guy's name? Watanabe? What is his name?
Ken Watanabe.
Yeah. He was
detective.
he was a detective that worked at the precinct, I guess. He did a great job. I thought his acting and like his role was super interesting and very cool. The villains were fine. I'm not going to get into who they were. I will say though, now that we're talking about more characters, broad strokes, there were two accents happening in the movie. There was the American accent, and then there was a random British accent, and a lot of people. What?
There's also a Japanese accent, so maybe it was like a melting pot. Maybe the city's like a melting pot of
potentially
areas.
They did kind of okay.
Because it's not really explained where the city is. Not like in any of the regions.
I looked it up, and it's not in a region that has been specified. So
it could be like New York, where it's like a melting pot of different regions.
What I will say is they do have an in-movie explanation of kind of why it might be a melting pot, but we'll get into that in a bit.
Okay. And then in general, I thought Ryan Reynolds was great. I really, really liked everything that Pikachu did. I really enjoyed it. And I thought that the character model was great and fluffy and adorable. And I thought he was funny. And I thought the movie was a little bit dark, and there was a lot of, and I was happy because I've seen, and I've said this before, and I think it was in the last podcast, I've seen Cam play this game. And when I went in, I was a little bit wary that it was going to be like a super, super kids movie, but it is super not. And there's a lot of adult humor in it that I really thoroughly enjoyed. And it got really dark at times. And I was like, dang, this is kind of dark. It's kind of sad. This is dark. But yeah, in general, I think I left the movie satisfied. It was the best video game movie I had ever seen. And
very low bar.
Yeah, it's extremely low bar. But yeah, those are my opinions. I'm sorry that I rambled a little bit too much, guys. But that is my spoiler free. I think it's the best video game movie ever made. Pikachu is great. Some of the acting was bad.
I'll go next. As someone who has very little exposure to Pokemon franchise, I went in not knowing like almost anything about anything, and I will say that I enjoyed it well enough. I thought they did a good job with it. It was entertaining. There were certainly things that were problematic from a filmmaking standpoint, but they did a good job at world building. The characters seemed believable enough, even the quirky ones. I mean, it was a competent, well done, relatively, not without problems, but it was an enjoyable experience, and I would definitely see it again, not in the theater, but if someone was watching it, I would watch along and enjoy it. Yeah.
Great popcorn flick.
Indeed.
John?
Well, I enjoyed the Pokemon. The Pokemon were really well done. I think the little homages to their Pokedex entries were nice, and then like with Psyduck, I thought his part was cute and funny. The I'm the complete opposite of Phil. I think it's too much of a kids movie. I think the plot is way too thin, and but I did enjoy the world they built. I hope they have more movies in this world and they show more of it. But I think the story was a little too thin, predictable.
Yeah.
And the acting, the girls' acting, the reporter's acting was not the best.
Yeah. All right,
But
Camilo. Oh, sorry, John. I thought you were done.
I also like Ryan Reynolds. I could only picture Ryan Reynolds, though. I didn't see him as Pikachu. I saw him as Ryan Reynolds the whole time.
Oh, interesting. All right, Camilo, do you want to start gushing? Ready for the gush fest?
So I really enjoyed it because, like, I'm probably the biggest Pokemon fan here. Cool trainer Camilo. But I really enjoy like all of the Pokemon movies, but the reason I was excited for this one so much was because it was like an actual movie. All the other Pokemon movies are they're good if you like Pokemon. They're not, people really don't really count them as movies just because they're like really long anime episodes. But this felt more like a film. Like, I loved the world that they built, and I really enjoyed like having played the game and then seeing the movie, because there were a lot of things, like, even though the movie is like already predictable, I felt like it was even more predictable because like I had played the game and like some plot points were carried over. So I don't know, it was kind of cool. Well, I guess we'll get into it later in the spoiler part, but there were certain parts of the movie I'm like, oh, I remember that from the game. I'm like, that's bad, that's gonna happen here. And so it was like cool to like see what was gonna mix up and match. I do wish they like had more Pokemon in there, but I completely understand why. It takes so much resources. Ryan Reynolds did a great job. I saw him as Pikachu, not as Ryan Reynolds, so
same. I agree.
You haven't seen Deadpool, clearly.
I've seen both Deadpools multiple times, and I was perfectly fine accepting the voice that was actually Pikachu and not Ryan Reynolds.
I thought Justice Smith was okay. Like, at the beginning of the movie, they like I don't like how they like made him come off towards Pokemon, just because like that's not how it was in the game. Like, in the game, Tim was just like, oh, I'm just here for my dad. Like, Pokemon, like they made Tim like hate Pokemon in the beginning, which was like I don't know why they did that.
I think they kind of explained that, but I won't say.
Well,
it.
I'm saying I don't like that.
Yeah.
He doesn't like it, guys. Cool.
No, I'm not.
All right,
I'm not saying I don't know why they did it in the movie. I'm saying I don't know why they chose that as a point in the movie.
Do you guys want to get into the nitty-gritty?
The spoiler section?
Picking apart literally everything?
Yeah, you guys want to do that?
Let's go.
Sure.
Okay, guys. This is your last chance to escape. The spoilers are coming. We are going to now spoil the crap out of Detective Pikachu. If you do not want to be spoiled for this really cool movie, now is your time to stop watching the podcast, okay? You've been warned. I'm sure I have made some type of graphic that is flashing on the screen right now. I don't know. I haven't done it yet, but future me has probably done it. And something is saying, go away, spoilers, something.
Yeah, don't come attack
and definitely
us
come
later
back once you've seen the movie.
Yeah, come back once you've seen the movie. Watch the rest of the video, because I think it'll be a really cool experience for you guys to hear our opinions, because we have the best opinions.
We'll have varied opinions, I think.
We're going to have varied opinions, but it'll be great. Okay, so I guess what I want to do is throw straight to Dan, because Dan, you were saying something about the accents, but you didn't want to talk more about it during the non-spoiler section. So do you want to just start us off?
Sure, yeah. So I think the reasoning, like, within the world as to why there might be a whole bunch of different accents is because this city is kind of billed as an alternative way of living in harmony with the Pokemons, instead of like like everywhere else in the world, it sounds like they own the Pokemon and they train the Pokemon, and that's kind of like their pets, and they don't live like together side by side as they do in this town. So it's conceivable that people have traveled from all over the place to try out this new way of living side by side with the Pokemon.
That makes sense. Yeah, so like it's sort of this alternative lifestyle that these people have chosen to live with their Pokemon. So you have to go to like the cult city.
That actually made me
right.
hippies.
And it,
hippies.
Yeah, it kind of ended up being like that.
Yeah.
That guy was essentially, trying to make a cult
Yeah.
to then,
That actually made me
Put it on his
realize
own-
something about that battle they had with like Charizard and Pikachu because they live side by side. Was that underground? Like, is that not allowed?
Yeah, that was an underground battle.
Yes.
They said that. They mentioned that it's not legal. Because
that's why Tim was arrested.
Tim said something like, "Oh, I didn't think we could have Pokemon battles in Rhyme City," and then Pikachu goes, "Yeah, this is illegal," or something like that.
On the nose, right there.
It was,
And then they literally arrested Tim.
yeah,
We got 10-year-olds watching this. This is illegal.
this is illegal.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I didn't like the Pokemon battle.
Well,
He's
because
like
Pikachu
Tim
couldn't really
Yeah, he
attack.
didn't do anything. He didn't do anything.
Yeah.
The Gengar versus Blastoise thing.
Yeah, that was
dope.
cool.
That was super.
That was the
cool.
same in the game too. Like Pikachu forgot all his attacks and he couldn't really do anything.
Because he's not really Pikachu.
Yeah, he's not
Yeah.
Pikachu.
Hashtag Dadpool.
I didn't like how they showed all like the funny, like most of the funny parts in the previews.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of and that's why I avoid, like personally, I avoid a lot of trailers.
Yeah, I
just
actually
to-
didn't watch like the
Yeah.
last few trailers for Detective
But I was
Pikachu.
I was like a little bit too much like, "Ooh, I want to see all the Pokemon," so I kept watching them. I was too into like, oh, like these things are so cool looking.
Yeah.
So I did watch a lot of the trailers, but you know who wasn't in the trailers very much? The other female character. What was her name?
The reporter.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, intern.
No. Yeah, intern lady girl.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag baby love interest, maybe.
No, not maybe love interest, and we're in the spoiler section, so we can talk about it. There was a throwaway line where Tim says, "Oh, like something,
Lucy, that's it.
Lucy." So, oh, like
Yeah, the Ditto is changing shapes,
yeah,
and
yeah,
just various shapes as they're fighting, fist fighting the Ditto and Tim, and then it changes into Lucy,
right.
with really small beady
Oh my God,
eyes.
so
Okay.
creepy.
Yeah.
Nightmares. Well, there was another
Yeah.
offhand comment that Pikachu made. He said something
Tim-
like, "Oh, I could see why you wanted to come to her office or something."
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he
I don't
made
remember
some.
that.
He made some.
There
comment.
might have been one, but they really didn't set it up very
No,
well.
and there
So
weren't,
It
like-
came out of left field when he was like, "Oh yeah, that's fair, turning into the person that I think is cute," or whatever it was.
Yeah, there were
That I'm
no moments.
attracted to.
There were no moments
Yeah,
of
that
them
kind of came out of nowhere.
together.
And why would that stop him? He's kind of a dummy. Like it's clearly not her. Just punch the thing.
I mean, I
The
guess
guy
that
that
was the
didn't know that the hologram was fake.
Yes, seriously,
Oh,
that
the
stinking
hologram.
hologram. Dad, I gotta save you. Wait, don't go. It's a hologram, buddy.
Yeah.
Technology.
The fact that
They
that was
explained that to
crazy,
you.
that he tried to pick up his dad hologram was like ridiculous.
However, I did think it was funny that Pikachu poked himself to make sure that he wasn't real.
Wait, he poked the hologram?
He poked
The Pikachu in the hologram.
Yeah,
Mm,
which I think is kind of funny.
that was funny. What did I wanted to say? I guess none of this was spoiler stuff, but the thing that I thought was cool is I was wondering how they were gonna like explain away like how you have to use multiple Pokeballs, and in the very beginning of the movie they try to catch a Cubone, and when he throws the Pokeball and ends up not catching the Cubone, and the ball like he's like, run away, because the Pokeball like explodes, and I thought that was a cool way to like kind of explain why.
He
you have to
also
use
pissed
multiple
off the
Pokeballs.
Cubone, so he had to run away.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Why was the...
As soon as I saw Bill Nye, I knew that he would eventually be the bad guy.
Oh, obviously. That was so easy.
Yeah.
I feel like the story was very predictable.
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
like,
so
he's the bad guy.
The son, like, didn't get arrested, right? He was just completely fine.
Yeah, because
The son
he
wasn't
Son
in
of
on
the
wasn't.
Howard guy, right?
Yeah, he wasn't the bad guy.
I thought he was the one running the lab, though.
No, that was apparently the Ditto.
Yeah.
Plot hole.
Yeah.
Because you think...
Because he's always wearing
Yeah.
sunglasses.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's whenever he had sunglasses on, he was the Ditto.
But how does he tell people what to do?
Plot hole.
He doesn't. He just like, you know,
He just stands there.
he just stands there ominously.
And how comes?
Yeah.
Why did they choose the Ditto to turn into that lady with pink hair for like a scene?
I don't know.
Like, that could have been anybody
Mhm.
else.
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe that was the preferred form of the owner. Don't need to get
Could be.
into that, but maybe that's why.
There's a lot of why did they do this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and how did Tim get from the top floor of a skyscraper down to the street level in the time it took Pikachu to fall from the same height?
Do they expect you just to wait and watch nothing while he comes down?
No, right, but it's like, what?
Did they cut
It's a
to
really
it,
fast
or was
elevator.
Was it all like in one
Like,
scene, like one
They
take?
it was like they show Tim up on the top looking out the window.
Uh-huh.
Pikachu gets they get the zaps or whatever.
Yeah.
Pikachu starts falling. Just before he hits the ground, he's rescued by Mewtwo.
Mm-hmm.
And as Mewtwo is like holding me in the force field from being rescued just then,
Mm-hmm.
Tim runs out the door toward them.
They got some.
It's like, what?
Dude, they got some.
I
Fast
feel like that happens in other
elevators.
movies. They can't, like, how else are they gonna have that in a timely manner done?
Yeah, but they could like cut to a shot of them of Pikachu just like kind of recovering after almost falling to his death instead of just having been rescued. There are ways that they could have done that so that it doesn't suggest that Tim is the Flash.
True. I will say though that scene bothers you way more than it bothers everybody else.
True.
Yeah,
And also-
that's a very obscure one. There's like other
Yeah.
plot holes that you could
There's
have.
a lot of other things.
Yeah, like the
that-
purple poison.
Yeah.
The purple poison is highly flammable, except when it's not.
Yeah.
Wait, when is it not?
Charizard literally fighting, and it doesn't explode. Suddenly, all these balloons are exploding because it's filled with them, and such, because it's convenient to the plot.
I mean, you don't know. They might have just put like a combustible gas mixed in there
But why?
in the
Yes,
balloons.
that's exactly
gotta
what you
be-
would
there's
want to
gotta be,
put
like,
if you
some
want
sort
to
of,
There's
like,
some,
breathe
maybe
it in.
there's something else in there because otherwise
They wouldn't float.
Yeah, they wouldn't.
Well, it's
float.
just helium. Would it
Helium
blow
is
up
helium is
Inert.
from electricity though?
it's flammable.
But then,
Helium is
then
not
why
flammable.
when the if
Helium's
it
not
floats
flammable?
and
No,
whatever
it's
it
completely
is
inert.
that if whatever
we
it is
shouldn't
they
argue
mix
with
it
the-
with
You know
floats.
what? All I'm just gonna say is you're completely a nerd.
When they vent
Okay, that's not
when
even
they
the same
vent the
word I used,
balloons-
but okay.
You said
when they vent the balloons, the
Inert
smoke
with a
sinks
Yeah, I
down
know,
to
isn't
the street. Yeah.
I don't even know what's going on.
Why does it sink down to the street instead of is it like separating from the helium that was mixed?
See, I thought
doesn't
I
make
had to.
sense.
See, I thought
Either
I had to
floats
turn
or
my
it
brain
doesn't.
off for this movie, but you went way,
Yeah.
way
It's
too
like
in depth on
giga-braining
this
over
one.
here.
I just want to know where the bodies went
Yeah,
Into the
I
Pokemon.
agree.
and
Yeah,
where
but
they.
why didn't the bad guy's body
He's like,
why
"Yeah."
did he need?
Because he
to
was
be
using
like,
that device with his head.
Yeah, the mind
Yeah.
control. So Mewtwo's supposed to be the most powerful Pokemon ever, and they could create a mind control device super easily.
I guess. I don't know. Also, like, isn't Mewtwo
If-
not the most powerful Pokemon? Like, Arceus is the most powerful Pokemon. And there was Arceus statues. It's like it's not like they didn't know that Arceus
Yeah.
existed.
If I were a mastermind that has a device that can mind control a Pokemon that can merge people's bodies into their Pokemon, the first thing I would do is control the Pokemon to merge my own body so that the device will no longer be needed and cannot be removed from my head. Boom.
Well, maybe
that doesn't really tie up the story very well then.
No, it doesn't.
What was that? I don't even understand. Like, why did they have to be enraged in order for this to work?
Because they said so.
Yeah,
that's how
has to do with the psychoactive manipulation.
Yeah.
See, that wasn't really a plot in the game at all. Like the control, the like mind like melding of Pokemon and people. It was just like they were using R to like access this like power that the Pokemon doesn't have because it's enraged and it's like a lot stronger. I think what they were trying to do is like get it so that they wouldn't go outrage, but they would like get all this like new power. Because like the end of the game, it's like this one Pokemon has R, but like they're able to control it, and it's like doing these bad things. Yeah.
I liked the giant. What is those Pokemon called? The
Torterras.
Torterra, yeah.
Yeah, that was a very cool scene. I enjoyed
Except
that.
for, why did Pikachu get knocked out by like a tiny rock
Yeah.
and almost died?
He's invincible until he's not.
Maybe it was not a rock and it was some dirt. And since he's
He inhaled it.
and since he's like vulnerable to ground type moves,
Yeah.
it was super effective on him and knocked him out.
Got a mud slap to the face.
Super effective critical hit mud slap. That's the explanation.
Why would they need to make those giant Torterras anyway? Like, what's the point of them? Just to have that scene?
You got me.
They were just
I don't know. They were just
genetically modifying Pokemon.
Yeah, they were just trying.
And Torterra's like the continent Pokemon, so like I guess they wanted to make an actual continent or like a landmass with the Torterra.
How close to the city was all of this?
They drove out there,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had to
like
be
out up in
really
the
far.
mountains.
And people didn't notice the mountains shifting around and think, what the crap is going on?
Must be really far then.
Yeah, it must be super far.
That was not a practical car either.
The Psyduck jammed in the back and Pikachu in the booster baby seat.
Psyduck was the best. I personally, Psyduck was my favorite.
Psyduck was good.
Really?
Yeah.
I was mad on Psyduck.
I like Psyduck a lot.
Oh,
It was funny.
I'm in the minority here.
What was the name of the mime one?
Mr. Mime?
Mr. Mime, yeah.
Mr.
That was a lot of fun.
Did
like
they kill
Mr.
him?
Mime.
I feel like they actually killed him.
Yeah, he's dead. You can kill a Mr. Mime with fake gasoline. and
Hey, they made it out to look like it's real, like that it was actually happening.
Yeah.
I was half expecting Tim to, like, singe his fingers. But nope.
Well, he's not the professional mime.
Nobody is prone to the wall that was created, so why not whatever else is made real?
He didn't create that wall initially. Mr. Mime did. So that was a real barrier that Mr. Mime
So it was
created.
fake gasoline then, because Tim made the gasoline, so he's alive.
Yes. We did it. Got to the bottom of it. Mr. Mime
Nice.
survived.
Solve the mystery.
Thinking way too much into this one.
Well, there's got to be a sequel, right?
How?
Mr. Mime?
I would think in the
know.
sequel,
Like, how do you have
like
a
a
sequel?
sequel, like Tim could get his own Pokemon, and they
Yeah.
could like do detective missions together with him and his dad.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like Ryan
But
Reynolds
actually-
could've
Mr. Mime's
sold that.
misadventures.
Well, it would have to be something where like he has to like recombine with Pikachu because there is no Detective Pikachu anymore.
True.
Yeah. Oh, and I guess it raises the question, does it really matter if Ryan Reynolds' voice sounds like Pikachu? Like if you felt like it really was Pikachu? Because it never really was.
What do you mean?
Well,
I mean, the whole time, any Ryan Reynolds voice coming out of Pikachu was not Pikachu talking. It was the dad.
Pikachu's just gonna
So-
say Pikachu though.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter if someone bought Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu, because he never really was, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I feel like if you don't have like Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu, you're not going to sell that movie.
Yeah.
Right.
I get what you're saying, Dan.
But now that we know that it's not actually Pikachu, like, does it ruin it? Does it ruin the...
I think
I thought it was better for it.
I was actually kind of
think.
really surprised because the way the game ended was like it wasn't clear if that was the case. They kind of like made you think that, but like after I saw the movie, I was like, oh, that makes a lot more sense.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand why Mewtwo wiped his memory.
Yeah.
And then needed the son to get the dad's body back.
I mean, maybe it had something to do with the fact that, you know, how, like, you need R to combine the people into the Pokemon, so that he had to wipe the memory, because maybe that's, like, similar to, like, something that would happen if he were to use R. So, like, something needs to happen to your brain in order to combine a human and a Pokemon. So, wiping the memory or doing the R is the thing that's needed to, like, make that connection.
Yeah, so because he was able to merge the Pikachu with the human without the R, so it's
so you have to like get the sanity has to leave the Pokemon in order for a human consciousness to enter it.
What about that scene where Pikachu thought he like betrayed Harry or Tim, and then he just like runs off? That was kind of like it was like predictable. Like I know he's just gonna come back. It's like kind of a
no. The movie was
I thought it was unnecessary.
Right
it seemed out of character to me.
Well, he needed to go to the bridge and somehow realize that the Greninjas hit the car.
Yeah. It wasn't Mewtwo going after them.
Plus, you gotta have him sadly sing the Pokemon theme song.
That was that was one of my favorite scenes. That was good.
I'm a little confused as to the motivations of the main villain. His goal was to create a town so that he could merge everyone except for himself with their Pokemon.
Well, no, he was gonna merge
like,
himself.
We don't need. He was like, we don't need people. It was like Pokemon can live by themselves, or something like that, or.
Well, I think it was Pokemon can evolve.
Yeah.
People can't.
But
yeah, that's it.
No,
the whole thing.
He said that people can, people are evolving into like a more, like a better version of themselves by merging with the Pokemon. So it was like he said it was like the next step in human evolution was to merge with Pokemon.
So why wouldn't he build this from the start and try to get people on board for it?
I feel like
he built it
maybe
a successful society based on an entirely different premise, becomes a super celebrity, and then just throws it away instead of saying, like, at that point I would have been like, okay, this is working. I'm just gonna kind of do the thingy for myself and continue being the big man on campus.
Here's my thought.
Instead, no.
He built the city, and then when he got sick, he like went crazy.
So, okay.
I think that maybe that makes make sense.
That makes sense.
Otherwise, it doesn't really make sense. He must have been like actually trying to like make a great thing, and then he got sick, and he was like, "Well, I don't want to die. What do I do?" And then he
put myself in
crazy.
Mewtwo, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But then why wouldn't he just do that? Instead, he literally forces everyone else except for himself to do it.
So if he could just return to his body by someone taking off the headset, what would happen if his body died? Like when he just returned, like he's not really immortal then.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe maybe he goes.
That's why you merge instead of just use the mind control thing.
Well, but Mewtwo's the one doing the merging, so you have to control Mewtwo before you can do that. Like Mewtwo can't do it to himself.
So when he was controlling Mewtwo, why wasn't that the first thing he did? Was merge himself.
Then how do
you end the movie?
Mewtwo.
Yeah, you can't end the movie.
How did he know how to merge people as Mewtwo?
Seriously.
I don't know,
I
guys.
don't know. Yeah.
This is turning into like from just we're talking about the spoilers to being like, let's rip apart this because it makes no logical sense.
It doesn't make any logical sense. I
mean,
wish I could turn my
yeah.
brain off for movies like this, but
I usually do. I try to suspend my disbelief and like I let actors play the roles they're playing and like enjoy the story that they're presenting to me, and not just be like, Ryan Reynolds, you're Deadpool. This is dumb. And like,
I didn't say that once.
I remember saying I had a lot of fun with it. It wasn't without its problems, but I enjoyed it, and I'd watch it again.
Yeah, I would watch it again too. And I think watching it
Yeah.
again, like a second viewing, will open up a whole new perspective on the film because now
That
you
very
know.
well could.
Now you know. So it's actually worth probably 2 views. Maybe not in the theater.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. If
Start yelling out.
Maybe in
If you're a
3D.
What are you doing?
Yeah. I almost.
It's definitely one that has more than just one layer.
Oh, I wanted to ask you because we were messaging about it. Did any of you guys actually see it in 3D?
No.
No.
Oh. See, I think I should have maybe seen it in 3D. That way one of us had the perspective of being like, oh, it was sweet. Or like, no, it gave me a headache. But I thought like maybe you guys had
I
seen
mean,
it
I
in 3D
haven't.
and
I
you were
actually
like-
haven't seen a 3D movie in like a long time, but I don't know.
I feel like that would just be a conversation about whether or not 3D is better than 2D.
Yeah, I
And
feel like
That'd be a really
definitely
quick
not.
conversation. No.
I feel like
It's not.
it draws like focus away from the movie when it's 3D. Like it's like harder to focus
Even
on stuff.
2D versions of movies that are designed with 3D in mind suffer because shots are designed to showcase the 3D that isn't even there.
Yeah,
Like the
And
pie that comes into the camera for no reason.
I just remember watching
Yeah.
Captain America Winter Soldier, and there's a part where he throws a shield, and it's
Yeah.
clearly 3D.
Yep.
like I saw like
Spy Kids
Spider-Man in
3D.
3D, and he like jumps over a chair and he's like jumping out of the screen, kind of.
Awesome. All right, guys. So any final thoughts, spoilers or otherwise, about the fun movie that was Detective Pikachu?
Nope, I think it was really good.
I want a Pokemon
Yeah.
movie where they actually train and battle Pokemon.
Okay.
Like I want more Pokemon battles. That would be pretty cool.
I would say that I didn't feel overwhelmed. Being a newcomer to the franchise, I didn't feel overwhelmed with way too many Pokemon to like who's this one now? Who's this one now? I
Yeah.
thought they did a good balance.
Of having them be sort of like set pieces and like, you know, only really introducing like 6 that you had to be
Right.
like,
Yeah.
oh, this is like, I need to understand these
Yeah.
6 guys.
Oh,
I didn't feel the necessity of having like to know the entire 30-year history or however long it's been.
Like 20
20
plus
I do
Yeah.
want to know what they eat though.
each other. That's
I mean,
been
They had
In
those
the
like
anime, they eat like it's like it looks like dog food. It's like little pellets.
Slowpoke tail. All right, I got to
Yeah,
stop the conversation there, though. We're getting off topic. Do we want to talk about what we've been playing this week?
Yeah.
Camilla, what have you been playing?
I'm actually. What I bought recently is I'm gonna show it on the camera, but I will say it because you guys can't see this. I bought a second Switch dock, but this
Ooh.
one is the Pikachu and Eevee one because I got it.
Oh,
off of
they sold that
eBay.
separately.
Yeah, so someone was selling it separately, and it was actually cheaper than actually buying a new dock. So it's super cool.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah, and I had
And that's official, right? Not third party.
no, yeah, it's the official. Someone just like bought the
Nice.
bundle, and they were selling all the pieces separately, like the Switch separately, the Joy-Con
That's
separately.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's really cool. Playing Pokemon. I actually started playing Super Mario Galaxy on stream again recently.
Oh, fun.
Yeah,
That's a great
Uh,
game.
that was the first game really I ever streamed. And that was like 2 years ago in May, so it's May again. So I figured let's play Super Mario Galaxy. It was tons of fun.
Great.
Yeah, so that's really fun. Still playing, trying to beat Kingdom Hearts 3 on critical mode.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, tons of fun stuff.
Cool. Dan?
Super Mario Odyssey,
Gotcha. You're still
as usual.
You're still working on your entropy runs?
Yeah, I mean, I did a stream of it. It was a lot of fun. There are so many interactable items. Like, I got through all of, like, Bowser's Kingdom, and then realized, like, 2 kingdoms later that I didn't open the door to the Odyssey, which is also manipulatable, so I didn't find the point, technically. But, yeah, I wouldn't mind maybe doing stuff like that in the future. There's a new speedrunning metro route for any percent that's kind of weird. I don't know if I'll implement it because it's like harder than the normal route. Other than that, I've been doing movie nights. That has been fun. I watched Road to Bali.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because it's public domain, so that was a lot of fun. That's pretty much what I've been up to.
Nice. How about you, John?
Well, I've been playing this game called Reign Game of Thrones. It's like an officially licensed Game of Thrones game.
What is it called?
Reign Game of Thrones, like REIGN.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah.
It's weird. It's like a graphic novel card game. I don't know. You make like
platform.
It's on the Switch, but I think it's everywhere. It's like $4. I wanted to check it out because I like Game of Thrones, and I saw there was a Game of Thrones game on the Switch, so why not?
Nice.
But it is bad. Do not buy it.
Oh my gosh.
I don't even understand what you're doing. Like, you're making decisions, but I've died every single time. Like, you choose, say you're...
Sounds like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, say you choose, like, Daenerys, and you make, like, 3 decisions, and then you die.
Oh, wow.
Dang.
So, like, it's
Yeah.
to choose your own adventure?
Pretty much, yeah. I don't know. I don't enjoy that. I also picked up Dragon's Dogma and Saints Row the Third on the Switch.
Nice. Saints Row the Third is on the Switch? Why?
Yeah, it just came out.
That's just it's a random game. It's like GTA, but like
weird,
right?
Yeah, weird. There's some weird things in there.
Weird game.
Non-PG
for adults.
Things. Yeah, but I posted on Twitter that I was gonna buy them with my gold coins. I didn't buy them with my gold coins. I just spent real money. I have like $95 worth of gold coins. I need to spend those.
Nice.
Did they expire?
Yeah, I think in August. I was trying to save them up, see how much I could save up in a year.
Yeah.
Oh,
spend them. Cool.
I'll be able to get like Fire Emblem for
Mario
free.
Maker?
But yeah, I'll be able to get Mario Maker for free.
Nice.
So.
Well, I guess that goes to me then. I have been playing some Smash in my off time. I've also been playing a little bit of Persona. I've been playing this game on my PlayStation called Downwell. I have it on my phone.
I've heard that.
I have it on my phone also. It's just like this random game. It came out a while ago. And there's like left and right and then jump. So you like jump and shoot, and you try to go it's a roguelike, so you try to go as far down the hole as you possibly can. You have like 4 health, and it's just really fun. I really like it.
I actually have that on the Switch. It's only a couple bucks.
Yeah, it's a cheap game. I recommend checking it out. So yeah, Downwell, Persona 5, and Smash, I think really has been what has been going on this week. Been really busy. I don't know if I said this earlier. I think last week I was like, I'm shooting a commercial. So I shot that commercial, and I didn't have any time for games. But now I'm back. I'm going to play lots of games. I'm really excited. Oh, and Fortnite Season 9. It's just started.
Fortnite Season 9.
So I know John's back into it. I'm back into it. So yeah.
Tilted's back into it. We talked about Tilted Tower not.
Yeah.
It got destroyed last week. Now it's back.
It's already back?
It's back. Yeah, because we're in the future now. It was rebuilt. So yeah, I would say check that out. I am actually, guys, quick announcement. I'm going to do a quick plug for myself. I'm going to stream on my YouTube channel some Fortnite. So if you want to play some Fortnite, I actually will bring back some YouTube Fortnite streams. So make sure to check out my YouTube channel for that. And as always, all of our links to our own individual channels are in the description. Please check out Dan, the Tea Lounge, over on Twitch. Cool Trainer Camillo over on Twitch and YouTube. The Janebo is a YouTube exclusive boy. And yeah, a link to my stuff and my website is in the description. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Anything else, guys? Final thoughts?
I think it's good. Nope, we're good. It's a good podcast.
Awesome. That was a really interesting conversation. We covered a lot of ground.
A lot of fun.
This might be a longer podcast.
And it was varied. We had movies, we had games.
Yeah,
we had YouTube drama. Man,
this was
intense.
This is a beefy
The Packcast
podcast.
is crazy.
Tell your friends, guys. This is our goal. We want to hit 100 subscribers on our second video. So guys, please tell your friends, share this video. We are trying to break 100 subscribers because once you hit 100 subscribers on YouTube, a bunch of cool stuff opens up and you can have custom links and all that fun stuff. So share, tell everybody. It's going to be great. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. And thank you, Dan. Thank you, John. Thank you, Cam, for co-hosting with me. I always appreciate it. That's it. I got nothing else to say. I feel like I'm railing. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.